Up next is Todd Davis. So, Todd is the founder and CEO of CBD Unlimited. He believes that their products serve as an effective means for easing a wide variety of conditions, and that CBD, effectively dosed, can improve an individual's quality of life. Todd has participated and managed over 100 IPOs and raised over $100 million in the microcap arena over the past 25 years. He has a strong passion for sustainable investing, renewable energy, and energy technologies. Everyone welcome Todd Davis.
Hello.
Hello, Todd. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So, just a quick background. When I first met Todd about a year ago, it was just over the phone. And immediately, I've spoken to a lot of different CBD companies before. And when I first met Todd, I immediately knew that not only is his brand going to become the household brand and being in over 6,000 retail locations presently, Todd's one of the most ethical businessmen there is out there, and the efficacy behind the product of the CBD is spot on. I mean, he puts the science behind it, works just around the clock to meticulous precision as to why the products work. And Todd has just also acquired KusH. We made the public announcement on March 5th. So Todd, thank you for joining us. And we have a really cool, diverse audience here. So I want you to let's go into a brief of the company, and then let's give the education. Let's educate the public on what hemp is, what CBD is, and why is it important?
Wow, that's a big loaded question there. So we'll talk about all of it. We can kind of go randomly around the board, but I can tell you this: when we first got involved with CBD, we actually came at the cannabis market as a way to really help people with their quality of life. We recognized early on that the industry itself, as an industry, it was a mess. It was a whole bunch of people in different parts of the country had been operating in the black to gray area for so long that the behavior of that way to be an entrepreneur was starting to convey into a market that was trying to go mainstream, that was trying to be a part of the American thing. And it was a mess. It was a disaster. There was no way to communicate the language. There was no way to communicate health benefits. And we looked at it at a very granular level. We looked at it, if you're going to be a big boy, be a big boy. So you had to learn about compliance. You had to learn about structure, infrastructure. What would the government tolerate and still allow you to be what you wanted to be as a company in the cannabis space? So we witnessed and participated in years of a lot of struggle, a lot of failure, a lot of broken dreams of people who said, well, we want this to be legal, but then when it goes legal, is that really what you wanted? So there's repercussions to everything. There's a ripple effect in everything that you do in this market. When you're establishing a brand new market that was illegal and uneducated and repressed for so long, you're transitioning, be prepared to suffer some pain. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, we ended up breaking it down to this. We said, we have one molecule in one beautiful plant that grows on one beautiful planet. If we can take that one molecule and get it right, everything that comes after that can be successful. So you start with science, you start with ethics, you start with a simple way to prove something, to develop something that's good for somebody that you can repeat over and over. So repeating that over and over cycle is, in our case, is finding a therapeutic value in this molecule that everybody believes is fantastic, but nobody's proving science. Nobody's putting thought behind it. Nobody's finding out what really helps. You can't just stick CBD in something and say, hey, it's a CBD product. It's the greatest thing ever. It's going to cure all diseases. You got to be more thoughtful for that if you want to be really accepted by the public. If you want to convey an educational message, take the time, get it right. The passion behind that will give you sustainability. It gives you perseverance. If you believe, you prove, and you really take the time to get it right from the beginning. Failure is okay. You're going to experience it. But going through the process of scientific method and failing a bunch gets you a lot closer to being right all or most of the time. So when we look at a sustainable market, this one little molecule that comes from a plant that can be used for so many different things has had a ripple effect and created an industry that is rapidly growing to be in a $20 billion+ industry in the next 5-10 years. Whoever is the analyst behind that, they're going to have to figure it out and get their numbers right. But in the end, this one plant can affect 90% of all people on the planet. You're going to have the 10% of people that go, yeah, I'm not interested. I want nothing to do with it. But if you look at fuel and clothing, everybody always wants to go back to it used to be paper and clothes and rope. And that's where technology comes in. They didn't know that there were molecules. They didn't know there were nutrients in there. They didn't know why there was things that were beneficial about the plant. They have figured out over the years that it can be a disruptive plant. And we're talking about hemp, cannabis, however you want to categorize it. It's a benefit in a lot of different ways. Now we can apply technology to this one plant and maximize its potential. So if you can take one molecule and change Charlie Moore's condition, his quality of life, his family's quality of life, his mom and dad's quality of life, his grandparents, you start affecting people that live a healthier, more sustainable, healthy life versus reactionary life, where when we have a virus like going on right now, everybody's reacting. Everybody's panicking. Everybody's trying to get educated, but they're not getting good information. The next time this comes around and we have to face this, I'm hoping everybody is a lot more educated and a lot more prepared for this kind of condition. One of those ways to be prepared in a sustainable world is to be educated and be already using products that keep you healthy, that maintain your quality of life, that maintain your mobility, your immunity, your functionality, your mood, and your general psychology, and how you deal and cope with the world. So this all comes from one molecule, but it really is how we address it. Why are we always panicking about the latest crisis? Why are we reacting as an adversary to something? Some of these things that are negative can be turned into positives, which make any type of industry an actual potential to be a sustainable industry. These products that are out there that have changed quality of life, it doesn't matter if it's plastic or nylon or oil and gas, all these things originally come from nature. They were molecules that came from nature that were harnessed through technology. They ultimately can get abused and they can cause awful repercussions. We have plastic all in the ocean, just littered. That's what we should be fighting. It's not the climate per se. It's what are we doing with the leftovers?
Yes.
We got to recapture that, bring it back in. It's a useful thing. So if you picked one thing in your life and you're going after business and you pick the plastic bottle and you're going to do something and make something with it, find one thing that can be used over and over and over with the recycling of that plastic. Turn that into a commercial enterprise. Once you're successful there, you can rinse and repeat over and over because you figured out that method to take what you've learned and repeat it over and over. And if everybody's doing that, either collaboratively or individually, we're going to solve these problems. It's not going to be pointing your finger at somebody else to fix a problem. Go fix it. Charlie, you come out with a bee box. You plant one. You started something. Now you plant a second one. Now you've brought two pieces of nature together, communicating back and forth because you took the effort to put a box in a tree and put another box in a tree. You took a natural link and optimized it through a simple device. That's what can happen in all these sustainable ideas that you guys are talking about. It really is, don't rely on somebody else to do it. Do it yourself. When people are telling you you're doing it wrong and you believe in it, keep doing it. Keep finding the better solution. And when you make mistakes, it's okay. Keep going. Fight through the mistake, go build something, start with that one molecule, that one plastic bottle, that one plant. That's the way we approach this whole thing. So, why the rest of the world was going, you have to have THC for CBD to work. Well, we didn't buy it. Prove it. So we proved it. We went out and we recruited doctors and say, hey, we want to figure out how much of one molecule does a person need to take to achieve some value. So we recruited patients, we recruited doctors, and we let them observe in the clinical environment. We saw 1 patient, 2 patients, 20 patients. We've now treated over 400 patients in the clinical setting with one molecule. We figured out the dosing range. We grabbed the dosing range per different product that we made, and we figured out how it works in the body, where it's being delivered into the body. And when we found success, we stopped there and let it test for a while. And if we get consistency across an entire platform, we stay right there. You don't have to go supercharge it. You don't have to add more. The body likes a molecule. The molecule likes the body. They play nicely together and good things happen. So, I say this in jest, but that's how systems work. And you build a system, you communicate with systems, you signal inside of systems, and tremendous reward and prosperity can come from it because you took the time, you took the extra effort to make these things right. It's not going to happen overnight. I'll let you talk a little bit.
Guys, this is the reason why I wanted to bring Todd on here. He just nailed so much. This is it. I mean, he hit it dead on, first of all, from the entrepreneurial perspective of especially the young entrepreneurs. Find it, do it. We have that personal responsibility to ourselves and to society to make an impact. But also he got down into the science of it as to you have to find it, you have to find the best solution. So Todd, that went amazing, by the way, what you talked about. So let's go into educate the public. What is the cannabinoid system? And why is CBD important to it?
The endocannabinoid system, I'll put it into really basic terms. It's a system within a system. So in our body is what we call the endocannabinoid system. Our body, endo means inside. So our body produces molecules that work within this system, and those molecules communicate with all systems. They don't always attach. They don't always get taken up. Sometimes a stoplight tells you to stop ahead of danger. A green light tells you to go when it's okay to go. Inside the body, if there's disruption in our signals, things start to break down and chronic disease can take place. The endocannabinoid system is attached to your entire nervous system, all of your vital functioning organs, and your brain. So they're all utilizing this communication channel inside your body to send signals. And if the signals are blocked, you have issues. When we're born, I like to frame it like this. When we're born, a mother produces a lot of this endocannabinoid inside the body. And one of the things that we believe is that molecule is produced to communicate with the endocannabinoid system that communicates with the baby system and the mother system. So why does that happen? It's a brutal process having a baby, especially for mammals. They deliver it out of their body. It causes stress and trauma. The baby's going from a fluid environment into an air environment. All these things create shock. And if the mom and the baby didn't communicate with these chemicals inside the endocannabinoid system, nothing would work when it was born. This is survival. Our bodies are built for this molecule. So now you bring in CBD. When you look at the anandamide or the I forget the other acronym for it, but the two different molecules that are produced at birth by the mother, you take those, they deplete over time, like testosterone or other hormones. These things dissipate over time because you don't need it for that particular function. The endocannabinoid system is still there. So when you're eating food that have other cannabinoids, there's hundreds of cannabinoids that are in nature that we're consuming, and our body grabs these little molecules and puts it where it needs to be. It doesn't need a ton of it. It needs the amount it needs. So the body grabs those nutrients and applies it. CBD looks exactly like that molecule, chemically, structurally, as the molecule the mom produces at birth. So when you reintroduce this molecule back into the endocannabinoid system in someone who's older, their body's going, oh yeah, where have you been? I missed you. Let's do some work together. So, we think that it has this restorative property to the functionality of all systems within the body. So where you're deficient, it elevates you and brings you back to equilibrium. When you're overstimulated, it brings you back into homeostasis. So it's a constantly modulating molecule that helps systems either calm down or get up to speed to where they need to be so the body functions optimally. So if you put too much of something in, you're overactivating something. If you don't put enough in it, the body can't recognize it. So when you use science to figure out the range for dosing per se, you're trying to get closer to helping that system be a really good performer for you. So CBD, because it's so versatile and it works with so many systems in the body, you can be a dummy and get it right. You really can, because it's the molecule that's doing the work and the body receiving it and applying it. But you can't optimize it. You can abuse the molecule. You can change the structure of the molecule. You can destroy the molecule in its true form. So considering all that, the endocannabinoid system is what can keep us healthy on a long-term basis. If we keep that system healthy, the liver can stay healthy, the heart, the nervous system, the arterial pathways, your brain, your hormone levels, all these things can function better over time if it has a sufficient amount of this one molecule that works with this one system. So restore the system, not cure the disease.
Yeah.
The system will cure the disease if it's a functioning system. That's
right.
you know,
functioning
that's kind of
system.
it, you know.
Yep.
You know, you can go days and years. I mean, this has taken minimum 10 years of research on my part, 6 years of applied science and research in the field to get to where we're at. And you know, we didn't have access to this kind of science. We had to go look for science in places it was really difficult to find. One, to find out safety levels. You know, be safe first. And then what do you take that molecule and mix it with? Can't just stick a molecule in the body. It has to have a carrier. It has to be delivered with something. And as a plant fat, it likes to work with other fats, other oily substances that come from plant material. So you learn to combine them, and then you take those materials and you figure out what's the optimal dose for those materials. We don't want it just to be in there to be a carrier. Where's the benefit in it? So if you're putting another material in there that's not good for the body, you're negating what the potential is. So every single ingredient in every single one of our products has a functioning attribute. It does something to either play nicely with CBD or play nicely in the body in a complementing fashion.
This is why it's so important for everyone to know, especially if you're going to start to get into CBD products. There's a real science behind it. A lot of companies haven't done it. Todd's nailed it from the efficacy of it. I mean, the formulation, everything is there. So Todd, if you have 2 minutes, okay? And in 2 minutes, I want you to just break down. We're stuck at home. Everyone's stuck at home with COVID right now, okay? What would you say would be something that is a call to action that people can do mentally, physically, and sustainably to keep themselves proactive and in a positive mind?
This may look like something horrible going on right now, but I actually think this is an awesome reset. This is a reboot. You know, really think about the things that are important to you. Is health important to you? Is your family important to you? Is thinking clearly about your life and your direction important to you? Find those things that are important. Do the research. You have that extra time right now. You know, don't sit back and think things are going to come. If you're taking action steps right now, you're setting yourself up for things that are going to affect you 6 months from now, a year from now, a decade from now. Take advantage of it. You know, I for 30 years, I've been in the stock market. And I've been through booms and busts in all different kinds of categories. I've seen every time the sky falls like this in the stock market, people just panic and they react and they do awful decision making. Make decisions and stick with them. You know, these are times when we get these opportunities to take a step back and go, holy crap, I was way out of line. I didn't know where I was going. I had no direction. Why not do that now? Find that sustainable piece of what you want to do and how you can affect things. You know, make your own ripple effect. So during these times of reset, you know, I was talking to Sam, one of the other guys, we call it the snowflake reset. Why? Millennials and younger people haven't seen bad things happen. They've heard of them, but they haven't seen it.
It's true.
Snowflake's not a bad thing. Our individuality is fantastic. But having this reset at an early stage in life for people in their teens, their 20s, their 30s, it gives them a moment to say, you know what, I was way out of whack. I was going the wrong. Or I love what I'm doing. How do I do it better? Yeah. How do I get to where I want to be? How do I affect change? Am I doing something that I believe in, or am I doing it for the buck? You can do a lot of things for money, but you can put passion behind it. It's a lot more rewarding. So, you know, in my 2 minutes, I just say, you know, use this opportunity. This is a bona fide opportunity to get it right, get it straight, and get on with it. You know, we have a unique opportunity here.
Todd, I really want to thank you for joining us with this. And in And really, you hit it dead on. I mean, people need to think about the priorities right now. This is the time to do it and reset. I loved how you put it that it is a reset. We're going to be doing round 2 interviews over the coming weeks, and you're definitely coming back on. These are going to be about 40-minute to an hour interviews. This was awesome. I think everyone here is loving everything that they just learned. I think you blew their minds on what it even is. What was that molecule? And now they have a good understanding of it. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come in. I know this week has been a killer week for all of us. So,
but yeah, watch your language. No, guys, thank you for the opportunity. Earth Day is, for the last 30 years of my life, it's been a big deal. It's been around the time I was in college and graduating. It was kind of when Earth Day was born and becoming something. And I look at it every single year as, what does it mean now? What are we buying into that's BS? It's my personal opinion that we're looking at this climate change wrong. It is pollution. It's misuse of material. And these things can all be corrected. It's not politicians. They're idiots for the most part. They're just, they are puppets. They're not thinkers. They're not thoughtful. They're not affecting change. They're disabling us or, making it difficult to do things that we really want to do. But, I look back when I was growing up, they used to talk about poisoning the atmosphere, poisoning the waters and the rivers. And they did clean up a lot of that. And it came from activation by people because it was killing people. Now we have other things. It's not whether there's clouds or there's heat or there's cold or there's anything else. We're polluting the planet. But we can take those resources and reconstitute and repurpose them. We can do effective things that harnesses that misuse and turns it into something positive. So I never look at the negative side. I'm always looking for, what can we do? What can we do to change this? And on Earth Day, it's a great way to look at it, go, you know what? It comes down to those silly things. If you want to sponsor that 1 mile of road and pick up all the trash, that's a huge thing. People put that up there a lot of times for sponsorship. But in the end, if you picked up a bag and picked up a stick and picked up the trash for 1 mile, you just got 1 mile of exercise. You got to take another mile to get back. So now you got 2 miles of exercise in a bag full of trash. It's that simple. That affects change. So do it. I don't like when people talk about it. I like when people do it. And that's when big things happen.
Todd, thank you. And that's what everyone needed to hear. Do it. Just get out and do it. And you and a few others have been saying that. It's a matter of getting up and doing. So, all right. Well, Todd, thank you for joining us. We're going to be kicking in right to the next guest with Joe Rizzo here. Joe's going to say a quick hello, and I'm going to take a quick 1-minute break.
Thank you, Charlie.